Welcome once again to this program, Mobilizing for Development. M4D is aimed to enhance local governance, contributing to improving service delivery in selected local government areas in Kano, Kaduna, and Jigawa State. M4D is funded by the UK Department for International Development and managed by the Palladium Group. But before I introduce the topic for today, I have my guest with me in the studio. And by my right, I will be introducing the chairman of Water Consumers Association, Malam Dodo Mohammed. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
And also to my extreme left is Malam Awal Idris, chairman, Kano Development Network, Kaduna State. You're welcome, sir. And to my left here is Malam Umar Adao, HOD of Worlds, Garin Malam, Kano State. You're welcome, sir.
Hello, viewers.
And I'm your uncle, Mary Usman. And right to the program. We're going to be talking about power mapping and budget implementation. You would have heard about power mapping and budget implementation and don't know what it is. I have my guests in the studio today. They will be enlightening us on power mapping and budget implementation. And right to the program. Malam Dodo Mohammed, Malam Mohammed, sorry. When you say power mapping, what exactly are you referring to?
Okay. Yes, because when you say power mapping, you see, if I answer your question, let me just tell you, during one of the bilateral discussions we were having on this power mapping, there was a colleague who tend to define what is power mapping for us, even before the facilitators take us through the training. You see, to a layman, in trying to define or to understand that power mapping, sometimes people tend to separate the two words and try to define them. That is power, that is mapping. Some will say power is taking control, influencing, or the capacity to do something. While mapping is, like discovering something and try to create a visual representation of it. But far from it, when we say power mapping, it means we are talking about a process. In fact, it's a tool that the social advocate use to do what? Just to identify those individuals, those groups, organizations that they target to promote social change in a given society. But to effect that change, one need to understand, you see, the political and social power structures that play around that same society or community. And to do that, it requires us as a CBOs, because I'm a CBO, I'm working with the policy makers, I'm working with the CBOs again, our dear colleague CBOs. But in doing that, it requires us to have a clear and deep understanding on the local political dynamics in the areas that we work. So in a short form, power mapping is a very useful visual tool that we use to figure out who is that target that we want to influence. Who is that target that we want to influence? How do we influence that target? And who can do the influencing? Because if you don't do that, it means you are bound to fail. To achieve your aims, to achieve your goal, you need to identify who you want to influence. To achieve your goal, you need to understand who is going to do the influencing. With due apology to one Mr. Philip Ikita, when he was telling us about some of the short stories as regards to power mapping, he said we should be very, very cautious while taking this power mapping. We should be very, very careful while handling these targeted people. Otherwise, the case of Philip and Alalachi will rematch again. There's one Alalachi. He's a very potential somebody in that society, and they wanted to target him. For him, he has the sufficient power to solve their problem. But very unfortunately for them, they now send a wrong person to influence that man because of the political differences. On seeing that man, Mr. Alalache said, because of this person, I will not do this that you required out of me. So they didn't conduct their power mapping very well. That's what happened at that time. So talking about power mapping, because I said it's a visual tool, it is a matrix. That is what we call wave of influence.
In power mapping.
In power mapping. If I want to target Mr. A as my target to help me promote social change in my society, then I should also be able to identify who are his influence. That target, we need to identify his influence, somebody that will influence him. It could be from his family, his wife, maybe his son, maybe his father or grandfather. It could be somebody from workplace, maybe at the church or the mosque, maybe in the marketplace. You need to identify those influences that are attached to that target. To do that, you need 3 or 4 cycles, 3 precisely. We map them after the identification. We map them using these 3 cycles. The first cycle is white, which means anybody that we mark in that white cycle, it means he's very potential person that will give us what we want as regard to that target. But anybody in a black cycle, that man is a potential risk. If we involve him into targeting that man, everything will be spoiled. But there are those people that are in gray cycles. They are not white, they are not black. They are in the box of I don't care. They don't like it. If you do, they don't care. If you don't do, they will not care much.
Ahmed, before we get down deep into this power mapping, I guess a lot of people would have understood a bit of power mapping, if not to maybe all self. But I will go to the question is, how does power mapping relate to governance? Madam Umar.
You see, as my colleague is saying, if you are governing, you need to understand the political and economic of the environment, which will help you in the distribution of wealth and power within individuals and groups. And to do this, you need a power mapping, because power mapping will help you to figure out, as he's saying, who you need to influence, how to influence them, and who will do the influencing in order to achieve the desired goal.
Okay. Please, can you add anything to what he had just said?
Well, is it regarding to what is all regarding to what Mr.
To what he just said now. How does power mapping relate to governance itself?
Well, you see, you cannot even start mapping someone. That means you are actors, unless you have an issue, and this issue that it has to do with governing.
So there has to be an issue.
There has to be. This is what make, or this is what bring about the power implementation. And that's why it can be a particular project.
All right.
And to add to what they said, you see, the relationship is that we as CBOs, we channel our demands to the decision makers. And before that channeling of demands, we conduct the prioritization of demands. We sit down and prioritize our demands and select the best of the demands. Then we conduct advocacy. So you see, to get to your demand, prioritize, to conduct that advocacy, like he said, advocacy issue, and to channel the demands, you need to conduct power mapping, because you must find out who you send your demands to. You must understand that person. You must, in fact, know the level of his sufficiency, the power he has to, and the incentives, maybe to solve your problems.
Right,
because we are talking about good governance, isn't it?
Yes, most definitely. All right then, thank you very much. Madam Umar, how does power mapping relate to implementation as well? How does it?
It relates in such a way that if you have an issue in a budget, in your budget that you want to implement, you need to map out. You know, in local government we have spending limits. If you have something that is above your spending limit, you must to map out how you will source fund, maybe from the Ministry for Local Government or from the state government, to come and implement what is in your budget, that is to solve the problem of that issue that you have that is important, that will have impact to the people that you are governing.
Okay.
Yes.
And because of this economic downturn, due to fall in oil price, which is why the federal government has a very small allocation to state and to the local government. Because every day our population is increasing, so is the demand. The demand is also increasing. So there's that relationship between budget implementation and the power mapping.
Okay.
For example, you need to plan, you need to prepare your budget, and so on and so forth. In that case, you see, we need to understand the political dynamics in that society, which is why when you are talking about power mapping as regards to budgeting, you must always think of the PEA, political economy analysis, you must do analysis to understand the geographical background of your area.
So there has to be a feasibility study before
Seriously,
you take
because there are some certain contextual factors you have to take into consideration before you do that.
So power mapping doesn't just come like that. It has to.
It doesn't.
It has a process.
Yeah, it has.
All right then.
Identifying
What
your
challenges did you encounter before power mapping was accepted in your local government, Madam?
You see, as my colleague have mentioned before, you see, we always hit something new to us.
Okay.
You see, when something comes to you, you will think of that. What is that thing? Instead of you, okay, let me hear from you, let me know what is exactly it means. So, by the time we start, implementing power mapping, we just become like a rivals, potential rivals to policymakers, more especially those working within the LGA level. What are those people? I mean, we as a CBO, meaning with this power mapping, that's the challenges we're heading until we get to them, and tell them all about the power mapping. They get to understand it, and come to understand it.
Right.
And in addition, with the town hall meetings, sensitization, interface meeting, people now came to understand the importance of power mapping because it helps in solving their problem, and it hits their problem in a very simple way. So I think the challenge is just very small challenge.
All right, Madam Umar, I'll still be asking you the same question.
Yeah.
How did you come about power mapping in your state, and who brought about power mapping?
It is just M4D. M4D brought about power mapping. They give the training, you understand? They even support the step-down training. Even M4D support the step-down training of this power mapping. So it is the M4D that introduce power mapping. They give us the training, and they support even the step-down training in the city LGS we have, especially here in Kano State.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
M4D, before in your local government, would you say that in your local government you've met the targets that was of this mapping? You've met the targets of this power mapping?
Yes, you see, it's true. Better than the non-focal M4D local governments. Because those barriers that I'm talking about, you need to study them. What choices do you have in that contextual challenging? What are you going to make out of them?
Okay.
These questions, as a point of effectiveness and efficiency, will be your entry point. Which is why today, when you go to our M4D focal local governments, they are doing what we call smart budgeting in a smarter way. You'll see that the budget is prepared politically, the budget is planned politically, the budget is implemented politically, the budget is reviewed, is tracked politically. So the budget that has this quality must be politically smart. So there are a huge gap between the local governments without power mapping and the local government with power mapping. Yes.
Very Madam Umar,
It has been practiced in my local government, and we have achieved. If you consider the 2017 budget for this year, most of the local government, we have 44 local government in Kano State. But if you cross-check this three local M4D local government, you'll find out that the projects, the budget implementation in this three local government is far better than those local government that they don't practice this power mapping. And this is because of the power mapping. We have the budget, we plan it, we have the map, then we pull the map, and we succeed in getting releases to carry out the projects.
Madam Idris, something to say?
Kaduna State has 3 LGA, and considering the 3 LGA is the focal LGA of M4D, they have made the target budgeting seal even before the time reach by using power mapping strategies.
All right, thank you very much. What are the key advantages of using power mapping in the budget implementation processes? Madam Umar.
I think before he answers this one, I need to answer this one. You know why? Because my local government is among the local governments in Nigeria that benefited greatly to the use of this power mapping. Ask me why. You see, I was trying to link up power mapping and PA, political economy analysis. Because when we started, we were having a tough time with these policymakers from the beginning. We have been trying to see that they have responded to our selected or articulated demands. Anytime they tell us it's not in the budget. Now, using power mapping, the local government cannot provide ambulance for the safe motherhood and other health-related issues like ANC. But using power mapping today, we have gathered at the town meeting. We requested one person. He has the most beautiful ambulance in Jigawa State, now it's in Malamudori. One person using power mapping. Now, we have 3 culverts. Those culverts appeared in the 2015 budget. They were not successful. They were in the 2016 budget. About 3 times we have been attempting to see that we have gotten these culverts, but using power mapping. Today, about 75% of the work is completed.
Due to this power mapping.
Due to this power mapping. Then finally, let me tell you, finally, we have sat down, conducted serious power mapping. As I'm talking to you now, the Honorable Chairman of Malamudori Local Government in Jigawa State is our member. He has no intention to contest January 2017. Okay. It has nothing to do with chairmanship, but today he's the chairman. Using power mapping, we penetrated, we have seen the political godfathers,
so
we have seen A, we have seen B. Today we have the chairman among us. He's a M4D focal CBO, and he's the chairman. We hope to see other chairmen from other LGS using power mapping. So power mapping is very powerful. When you plan politically, when you intervene politically, when you advocate politically, and when you act politically, I'm telling you that the result will be politically good.
All right, thank you very much. Mano Umar.
You see, the greatest advantage of this power mapping,
yes,
you understand, is it will track you away to get releases, especially with the current situation. If you have a very good power mapping, you will get release from the state government, then you come and do the project. It also pursues the state government to come and do what it's supposed to do in your local government. So power mapping is very important.
All right, what are the challenges do power mapping pose in governance and budget implementation?
Well, you see, the challenges are many, in fact. First of all, it caused the policymaker to do, I can say, unwanted.
The things they didn't want to do before.
They didn't want to do before, but by using, you see, power mapping is power mapping.
Okay.
What power mapping is all about is your actor. Who is the actor? It can be a single person, it can be an organization, and what have you. Immediately you identify it, so there are strategies how to influence him, as Mr. Dodo just saying.
Has said.
How, when, and where. Out of the tools you will use to influence, it can be his wife, his friend, as he just mentioned, his colleague, you know. So it makes policymakers to do an unwanted project. Yes, exactly.
All right, Malam Mohammed.
You see, what I want to say is that with the CBOs, we need to bring ourselves together. Gone are the days when we elect people, blank people, people with empty heads.
And it has to come from the grassroots, right?
I'm telling you, because one of the influential people in Nigeria said there are mispriorities in some other people's budget and plannings. So when there is that misplacement of priority, when there is unrealistic declaration of manifestations, automatically we know unidentified strategies and decision making will be very, very, yes. So what I'm saying is that leaders, we the CBOs and the community, will ensure that these our leaders, if we at all we believe that they are our leaders, then we should be able to understand that leaders are only selected or elected based on their declaration of manifestations, which is why these CBOs, this year in Jigawa State, we have our election just some few months back. But before the conduction of that election, we put our head together, both Malamudori, Miga and Ringim. We visited the chairman of the Jigawa State Electoral Commission. We said we want to be part of this system. He said, okay, how? We told him how we want it to be. Before election, we organized that every contesting councillor, every contesting chairman must come to us and tell the general public that what are his manifestations, what is it that he wants to do if at all he wins the election.
So
How is it?
So this has really helped.
It happened. It helped. Because there are so many questions we have to ask you. And the beauty of it is that at the end of that discussion, they need to sign our compact. That is the agreement. That's a promise. You promised during your campaign that you are going to do this.
Yes.
So by signing this, it means we are going to do it, no matter what. Which is why today we have our compact. We go to them, Honorable, how are you? Do you remember during your campaign? you said you promised. Yes.
Just like he has said, our wanted projects must be done by first.
Of course. And in a situation where they said, no, there's economic meltdown, there's recession, we said, okay, fine, it's understandable. We use power mapping to identify how to mobilize local resources.
That's serious.
Mobilize local resources. Involve everybody in a town hall meeting, in an interface meeting. Tell people what you have gotten from the government. Tell them what you intend to do. People will help you. We are willing to help.
And so they can bring their own quota.
Which is why that person give us ambulance. He said, local government cannot buy ambulance. So me, I'm donating ambulance. Another person will say, I'll donate drugs. Net, everything. So me, I always go with him that the CBOs, the community people, should start checking these contestants right from the campaign stage. Let them know their TOR. Some of the councillors, I'm sorry to say, some of the chairmen, they don't know their terms of reference. Ask them, if you are elected, what are you going to do?
But the fact he's not part of the local government, probably you wouldn't know, but power and mapping and budget implementation has really helped.
Map them. We'll power them.
All right, Madam, before we go, Madam Awal Idris, do you have something to say to what he has already said? Just
you see,
a little.
What I want to say is that the problem with this power mapping, you have to choose the best individual. Somebody that will influence your target.
You have to be good.
And you must be knowledgeable of the issue that you are advocating for. So it's very important. Power mapping, advocacy and lobbying, they go hand in hand.
Okay.
Because weak argument and empty assertion, you understand?
All right, then.
They will bounce back.
It's been an interesting time talking about power mapping and budget implementation. I guess my viewers out there have been enlightened. I also have been enlightened. I've seen it and I don't know what it is all about. I've been enlightened. You people, the viewers out there have been enlightened. But before I go, I've had a wonderful time with my guest in the studio, Madam Umar, HOD of Works, Garun Malam, Kano State. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
And Malam Muhammad Dodo, Chairman, Water Consumer Association, Malam Maduri, Jigawa State. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And Malam Awal Idris, Chairman of Kudan Development Network, Kaduna State.
You're welcome, my sister.
You're welcome, sir. And like I said before, M4D is aimed to enhance local governance, contributing to improving service delivery in selected local government areas in Kano, Kaduna, and Jigawa State. M4D is founded by the UK Department for International Development and managed by the Palladium Group. Before I go, I would give you the number in which you would send your SMS. SMS only. Don't contact the number. Send your SMS to 08034506512. I'll take it again. 08034506512. And for further inquiries, visit our website www.mobilizingfordevelopment.com. I'll take that again. Visit our website www.mobilizingfordevelopment.com. I'm your uncle, Miri Usman. Have a nice day. See you next time.